Good evening, students. I am here to tell you about Merchant of Venice, which is the most important comedy of Shakespeare. Now, Merchant of Venice had been adapted from Marlowe's The Jew of Malta. Now, Jew here actually refers to Shylock, who is the villainous and one of the most important character of the drama. Now, what is a comedy? Now, comedy are those dramas which ends up in happy reconciliation. And here we find that in Merchant of Venice, the ending is a reconciliatory end. And Portia is another most important character of Merchant of Venice. Now, in this context, Portia has been compared with Brutus's Portia. But both of them, but she is much better looking, more pretty, and a rich heiress. Now, Merchant of Venice is a comedy. Like other comedies of Shakespeare, all the characters of this comedy are interrelated with each other under certain conditions. Antonio, he is another protagonist of the drama, the main theme of the drama, who is the Merchant of Venice. He was a gentleman, a perfectly courteous man, a generous and broad-hearted person, and a very friendly man, who is devoted to his friend Bassanio. Bassanio, in his need, had sought for the help of Antonio, which he had done previously as well. And Antonio this time, though his ships were out of Venice in different parts of the world with a rich merchandise, he had gone ahead lending money from Shylock, who was his born enemy. Now Shylock and Antonio, both of them, according as portrayed by Shakespeare, are the two representatives of the two sections of the society of Elizabethan period. Shylock is the representative of the Jewish section, who were the minorities, and Antonio was the representative of the Christian sections. Now, in the Elizabethan period, the Jews were looked down upon, they were insulted and virtually hated by the Christians. And this had been aptly manifested in the delineation of Antonio's behavior towards Shylock. Antonio not only called him a cutthroat dog, but also had spat on his Jewish gabardine, had kicked him out of his way, and inflicted various other insults on him. Shylock bore it very silently, but deep within he bore a grudge against Antonio. Insofar he wanted to take revenge on him and waited for a perfect opportunity. That's why when it came that he needed to lend 3,000 ducats to Antonio for 3 months' time, he knew that things may go on the other way round. That's why he repeatedly mentioned, I think Antonio is sufficient. That means if Antonio's ships will not return safely, that would make Antonio to be a completely bankrupt. And in that case, Shylock's opportunity of taking the revenge would be highly fulfilled. And Shylock and as was expected by Shylock, Antonio failed to return the money in 3 months' time. And as it was mentioned in the bond that Shylock was to cut off a pound of flesh from his body, Antonio was tried in the court. Portia at that time, she played a very important role. And this disguise, she took the disguise of a lawyer called Balthazar and came to try the case of Antonio and succeeded in freeing him from the grasp of Shylock. Now this actually is the story structure of Merchant of Venice. Now, it has got twofold plots. One plot, the most important plot, is the plot of friendship that is rendered by Antonio towards Bassanio, for which he had undertaken a lot of danger, for which he had undertaken a lot of problems, faced a lot of problems. And the second plot, which is called the subsidiary or the secondary subplot, is the plot of revenge and the plot of love. Plot of revenge is when Shylock tried to cut off the pound of flesh from Antonio's body and fulfill his revenge. And the plot of love is the love between Bassanio and Portia. So, with these three plots side by side together helped in the development of the theme of the story and helps it to reach a reconciliatory and happy ending. Now, this is the storyline and the plot structure of the drama. Now, the characters. The most important character is Antonio and Shylock. Now, there is a parallelism suggested in the depiction of the character of Shylock and Antonio. Both of them were in the same profession of lending money. Both of them were the merchants of Venice. But the difference is that Antonio was a broad-hearted person and lent money without any interest, while Shylock was a vindictive, a cruel, at the same time, a very wicked and crooked personality. He used to charge a high rate of interest for lending the money. So this is the virtual difference between the two characters. The rest you will find with the proceeding of the play. Now, this is all about the preliminary aspect of the drama. If there is any queries on your part, please inquire me in the comment section. And when the class commences, you can come ahead and ask me the questions, the relevant questions. Now, there are certain important notes which are in connection with this drama, which will be sent in your WhatsApp number.